Well, also new tonight, an emergency meeting with the Board of Regents at universities of Wisconsin voted to reject a deal with Republican lawmakers regarding employee raises. The deal included restoring employee pay raises across the system and funding for a new engineering building at the UW-Madison campus. Now, although in exchange the deal included to freeze hiring for diversity positions, as well as drop an affirmative action faculty hiring program at UW-Madison and create a position focused on conservative political thought. Republican lawmakers and UW officials struck a deal Friday, but later a vote of 9-8 to reject the deal. Now, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos said in a statement today, "It's a shame they've denied employees their raises and the almost $1 billion investment that would have been made across the UW system. Also, they could continue their ideological campaign to force students to believe only one viewpoint is acceptable on campus." Well, University of Wisconsin President Jay Rothman said during an news conference that the negotiations were difficult and the end of the product was a compromise, but the deal would have helped the system continue to function.